Hey, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Yeah, so how have things been since I saw you last?
Hot.
Hot? Is it hot in Arizona, really?
Yes, yes, yes. Last month we camped in Phoenix for almost 3 weeks. It was like 105 to 110 every single day. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't handle that, Greg. I couldn't do it. Could not do it. That's way too hot for me. As it was here, we hit the 90s, feels like 100, and that was the hottest. And we don't get very many of those stretches in Saskatchewan.
No, yeah, but you do get some heat there.
We
And
do,
last
but
year, I
it's
think last year you got more than normal, didn't you? More than usual.
we do have those stretches. We have quite the extremes in our weather here. For you, though, it's always hot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hot about 7.5, 8 months a year here. Yeah.
Mm. What on earth possessed you to buy a box truck and build it out?
I already own the box truck. Well, it was one of my FedEx Ground trucks because I used to have contracts with FedEx Ground, and that truck got some front end damage, and so when I sold the business, they didn't want it. I don't even think I lost any money on the deal. I think they just left it. You know what I mean? So I took it home and it sat in the driveway for like 4 years, and then actually the inspiration that I got to convert that to a box truck is I saw D on Bob Wells. That was actually I thought about it. I
Hmm.
had thought about it, but then when I saw that D had done it, I was like, well, I can do that. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
can do that. I have skills. I have construction skills and things like that. So
So is Dee the first person that you saw doing the whole nomad van life thing, or where did you even start with the interest into that? How did you come across it?
it was actually nomadic fanatic.
Okay.
Yeah, more than anything. And actually, Wonderlust Estate. I don't know if you guys know James from Wonderlust Estate,
Enough to
but
look at.
he's kind of dropped out of YouTube some. He's pretty
Uh-huh.
big on Facebook now. I actually talk to him every day, but
Oh,
he's yeah, he's a really 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 super nice guy, and that got me interested in it. But he was in an RV. He was in a
okay.
motorhome. Just like I think, but one time he was in a van, but lately he's been in
Mhm.
a motorhome, kind of like Dream on Wheels, like Travis and United,
Yeah.
something like that. Big one like that. They're just pretty big. They're just pretty good size, So
So you already had the box truck. It sat there for like 4 years. You saw some videos and got some inspiration. Did you plan to move into it right away, or what were you thinking you were going to do?
I talked about that, but it was actually just in the last couple of years but last year that Kelly has like jumped on it and said we're doing that. It's
So for
really
anyone
Kelly.
that doesn't know, Kelly's his wife.
Yes, yes, yes.
You kind of want both of you to be on the same page, right?
And she doesn't like to be on live streams. I don't think she minds being on the other videos, but
Mhm.
live streams, you're kind of, you can't fix it.
It's vulnerable. It's very vulnerable to be on a live stream. A video, if you're the one recording and editing, or your partner is going to run it past you, that's okay. That's safer because you can say, no, no, change my mind, take it off.
Yeah, yeah,
Link again.
yeah.
So for anyone that wants to check out Greg's channel, he has Fit4Expedition Fun Seekers. But
Probably.
you have another channel that my fabulous moderator just dropped, The Abandoned Southwest.
Yes.
So now you have two YouTube channels.
Mm-hmm. This one, Fit for Expedition, is monetized. That one's a bigger not a bigger channel, but you know what I mean,
Yeah.
relatively.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, I only have about 120 some subscribers. There's only 8 videos on there so far, but it's all abandoned locations. There's one cemetery video on there, but all the rest of it is abandoned locations. And a lot of them are Slab City and, or not Slab City, but Imperial County, where Slab City is. A lot of them
Okay.
are abandoned buildings around there. And then there's just 1 or 2 from Arizona so far. But the reason why I started it is, how the algorithm is, and you got to stay focused in one kind of direction, or
Yeah.
else it will hurt your channel. And I started noticing that things were happening on my channel, that it wasn't growing near as fast as it had been, and things started dropping off. So I thought, that could be what it is. So I started the second channel, and I'm putting most of the abandoned stuff on that channel now. Some of it's still going on Fit4Expedition now. Most of the videos on that channel are of abandoned places from like Mecca Beach, if anybody knows where that is, which is on the north end of the east coast of the Salton Sea, all the way down through Nyland, California. There's a ton of abandoned places over there.
Why do you think that is?
It's because the Salton Sea is disappearing, and there's no water inflow into it anymore. So it's dying off. The air quality is way below standard, below U.S. standards, and I mean way below. And that's because of the sea and the fish dying and the chemicals that have been dumped in the sea from farms around the area, like.
So runoff from the farms, or
that's not all it is though. The Navy actually was there. There's a base. They used to crash jets in the sea. They used to bomb, do bomb training in the sea, all kinds of stuff.
I had no idea all of that. I knew that you couldn't really, use it for anything, right? And then, like Tim says, it stinks.
I guess, you know what? I was just there though, and it didn't stink when I was there.
Okay.
But it wasn't summertime. I think it's summertime is when it stinks. But
so there would have been a time then when more people were inhabiting that area.
There was a time when Bing Crosby and the Beach Boys used to have beach houses at the Salton Sea.
Really?
And yes, and you would go to a coffee shop and you'd be sitting next to Bob Hope and the big celebrities. Yeah, it was a big deal.
I had no idea. And
it's
then
close
so
to
it's all
Palm Springs.
Pollution in the water. Everybody, I mean, did they, like, you would think, were people going bankrupt? Or, to leave their homes? Obviously, they're uninhabited if you're able to go check them out.
Oh, yes. Yeah, there's hundreds of places that are abandoned around there. And I'm going to go back actually next year and spend a couple of weeks and just do all abandoned videos there. But there are artists that have come in and they have taken over all those abandoned places, and now they're their canvas, and they paint, they do all kinds of murals, and it's almost all really good graffiti, but there is, of course, the taggers that go in there.
Well, the graffiti art kind of theme, right?
Yeah.
So, and they can just do that because no one's living there? Like, they're not buying it, right? They're just painting it? Or
I think they're just painting it. I'm not sure if anybody owns it and allows them to, and that is possible because the values are so low now, the property values, that it doesn't, who cares? You know what I mean? It's, you can buy I just checked because we're looking for property for a base camp in the south. We have some property in New Mexico, but we're looking for something in Arizona or California, and then also something like maybe in Minnesota or somewhere where it's cool, so we can just go back and forth throughout the year. And you can buy a whole, like a pretty good sized piece of property, like a couple acres, for like $4,000 there.
Having gone to Slab City was a real eye opener for the variety of places and people that were out there. But I mean, if you're self-contained, and you would have to haul water, but I mean, I wonder why more people wouldn't be out there then.
Air quality.
Did you really feel like it was too diverse on your first channel to have the houses on it, like the abandoned places there?
Well, when I started, it was my very first video was an abandoned drag strip. That was the very first video that I ever shot on my channel. Okay. And that was several years ago. And there were two videos. There was that, and there was a tour of the Diamondback ballpark, the Major League ballpark in Phoenix.
Oh.
And I didn't even look at my channel again for about 8 or 9 months. And then I saw that I had like 60 or 70 subscribers, and I only had those two videos, and one of them had like 1,000 views, and the other one had 500 or 600 views. So I was like, well, geez, I guess I should probably try and start doing this.
Right. Right.
So my very first video was abandoned, and then I started doing that's what I was doing, abandoned and theme parks and roadside attractions. I wasn't even working on the truck yet. So I hadn't even started doing that yet. And then I don't know how it actually started to become kind of a Nomad channel, to be honest with you. Well, I was a Nomad channel because I was doing the abandoned attraction. I mean, the abandoned buildings to the roadside attractions and that. But as far as van life, that's what I mean. I don't know how it actually became a van life kind of channel, because it was already that way. And I was already in that community, even though I hadn't even started working on the truck yet.
Yeah.
Nobody even knew I had it yet.
Listed it again, the new channel, The Abandoned Southwest.
It only has 122 subscribers.
Do you have memberships on your channel at this point?
Yeah, and Tim's a member on my channel. But I only have like 4 members. I've had memberships for a long time. I only have 4 members. It always stays 4 members. I don't know why.
Yeah. Are you traveling a lot right now or in the winter? What are your plans?
Well, we we're only like a third of the time in the box truck. And we're also building it all the time. So, that's part of the reason. But as soon as we get the internet, I said StarNet, I think, but Starlink is what it's called, I guess.
Okay.
As soon as we get the Starlink, then we're probably going to be on the road a lot more. And we do plan on getting out of this house, hopefully within the next year.
Yeah.
I'm selling everything on Marketplace all day long. People are coming and buying stuff from me, and eventually we'll have an empty house, I hope. I want to get to that point. I'm looking forward to the point when you start looking at stuff and it hurts to get rid of it. Right now, it doesn't hurt at all. It's like, I'm just like, yeah, take it, buy it, whatever. I'll take half. That's fine. Whatever. You know what I mean? Just get it out of here.
Yeah.
But, when it starts to hurt when you're getting rid of it, then you're getting close. Yeah, but you know what the cool thing about living in a box truck is you have a different view every single day. So it's a great view every day because it's always different. Not every single day. You know what I mean.
What point did you know that, okay, I'm committed to this?
Well, my original plan was rent the house out as an Airbnb, because like Mike was just saying, the house has a pool and it does have a really awesome view. So it's so of the mountains. So it's right like against the bottom of the mountains. Okay. And so I was thinking Airbnb would probably pull in a lot of money, for a nightly fee. But Kelly says just didn't want any of the hassle. She just wants to get rid of everything and go. So, and when I say get rid of everything, we're going to probably have a shipping container on some land somewhere with stuff in it, with some of our stuff. And,
the stuff you just can't part with.
Right. And we'll spend months of the year there in that location. So it'll be nice to have that stuff there,
Greg, talk a bit about future plans with the first Friday night collaboration you're doing. Do you want to explain that whole process to everyone?
Okay. So, we came up with this idea, and this is before YouTube's new thing where you can just jump from one live stream to the next without having to change the channel, kind of like watching TV. You know what I mean? And just staying on the same channel. So, but we came up with before that. We were actually going to do it anyway, but that helps, So what it is I have partner channels, and it's Marshall, Nomadic Adventures, and Ron Sees America. Those are my partner channels. And so we decide, and we, honestly, I don't know if people like hearing this or not, but I'm not like that big on doing the live streams. I don't know. I like doing edited videos. You know what I mean? So I'm not real. I don't like to spend 2 hours at a time doing the live stream or whatever. So we put together a whole 2-hour block, and so we each do 40 minutes, which is tough because actually I don't know if Brock's still here from the Aussie Van Man, but he was my last guest. And at the end of the interview, normally you say, hey, thank you for being here. Thanks everybody in the chat and all this stuff. And hey, you might point out a few comments before you leave or whatever. I just had to say, oh, that's it. See ya. Because it's 40 minutes. It's like, bam, you're done, and Brock was talking about actually the thing that was the most important thing we were talking about, which was it's kind of it's not really, it's a manhunt in the Superstition Mountains, they're looking for somebody who disappeared. They know he's not going to be alive, or they're, 99.9% sure he's not going to be alive because it happened a while back. So, there's no food or water, whatever kind of thing. So, but they're still looking for him. And we were going to talk about that. And then we didn't get to that until the last two questions. And I looked up at the clock and I'm like, I only have like 11 seconds left. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, thanks for answering the bye. And that was it. Sometimes you're enjoying yourself so much, and the person you're talking to or the people you're talking to are also, that you'll go 2 hours or 2 hours and 20 minutes and it's no problem. But
Right?
sometimes you'd start and it's like you're 25 minutes in and you feel like you don't have anything else to say,
Been there, done that, sweetheart. Let me tell you. So you're planning to get rid of most stuff. We'll say everything. We know the sentimental stuff's still there. You're going to move it to a different property. And then what are your plans? Like when that house is gone, what is the first thing you guys are going to do?
We're going to Disney. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, we might. No, I do. You know what? That's funny because we do like amusement parks. So I know one of the things we do want to do is stay in amusement park campgrounds and go to amusement parks, theme parks. So that's one of the things. But we're going to end up with gas prices being what they are. We're going to end up being probably forced to stay one place for a week or two at a time now, which we didn't plan on doing. We actually planned on traveling around a lot more, I remember sitting down at the computer and looking up places to see in each state, like the top places, and putting together spreadsheets of all the places we wanted to go to. And now,
you're so organized.
Now that it costs 3 times as much money to get there, it's not literally 2. Actually, well, it's 3 because the truck only gets 10 miles a gallon. So it is 3. It's not going to happen. We'll be lucky if we get to every state now. So,
well, how long are you planning on traveling?
Till I die.
Okay, well, then you're going to hit every state because you got decades in you, buddy. What are you talking about? But, even before the gas prices went up, that was one of the things I learned through all my research on different channels and stuff, is that the slower the travel, the more affordable it is, because I think gas really is the biggest cost.
Yeah, it is, especially but the other thing is, this area of the country, of the U.S., you can camp for free all the time.
Yeah.
I remember when Marshall was still here in Tucson, and it was getting hot. So that's one good reason to leave. It was starting to get warm. We were in the 90s every day or whatever. So, and he's living in his van, in his minivan. And I remember when the gas prices started going up, I think that had a lot to do with why Marshall jumped in the van the next day and was like, I'm going back home. We don't plan on staying in this part of the country in the summer, I mean.
But even when you go somewhere else, like even in Canada here, we can hit 100. So, do you have
hotel room?
How are you cooling yourself?
Hotel room. I'm serious. If we see it, that's going to be 100 degrees for 3 days or something, I'm just going to get a cheap hotel room. You know what I mean?
But do you have air conditioning, fans, windows?
I have 2 5,000 BTU ACs. In the truck. I've done a lot of stuff since I saw you last.
Yeah.
2 5,000 BTU ACs, putting 780 more watts of solar on the roof this weekend. We finished the floors, so it was just a plywood floor and that kind of thing. Now it's all finished. Just redid the beds and all that kind of stuff. Got a second power station, so now we got 2,500 watts of solar power stations.
Wow.
And so still not enough to run the AC, and it still doesn't keep it cool. So I get it down to about 92. I've done live streams in the truck when it's 92 and it's 107 out.
So the Nomadic Rambler said they like to follow the 70 degrees, mostly can handle 80s with the 90s. Yeah, if I could stay 70s to 80s, that would be ideal. And just like Hope Bus said, and you're a water source,
I spent a ton of time San Diego, Los Angeles when I was younger, like in my 18, 19 up through like 25. So Yeah, I spent a lot of time over there.
You want to explain some of your, like, do you have any series that you're looking to on that? Because we know the abandoned stuff
Yeah, so you mean
on the other
playlists and that kind of
channel.
thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a playlist that's on the box truck build.
Okay.
Okay, and that's like, I don't know, close to 40 videos probably now. The abandoned stuff's about 40 videos. And then there's like a whole series of travel, camping, roadside attraction, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of into weird stuff. I am. I'm into roadside attractions and abandoned roadside attractions, especially, and abandoned amusement parks, like, climbing around in old houses that nobody lives in anymore.
Yeah.
That, especially when all the belongings are still in there. I don't know. I like that kind of stuff.
I think that's super cool. Okay. And this is why I want to watch your channel for that stuff, because I always want to go look in those places, but I'm too chicken to do it.
Yeah.
I'm afraid there's like bats or snakes, or you're going to fall through a floorboard. I mean, because here we have basements everywhere, right?
Yes.
And so I fear for my safety to go look at these places, but I really want to see what's in there. So I'm going to totally be watching everywhere you go.
And some of the places that I've actually gone into are now being torn down. So like when you see something, you really got to do it because it might not be there.
That's true.
There's this giant warehouse that I went through in Casa Grande, Arizona. I don't know if you know where that is, but it's halfway between Phoenix and Tucson on I-10, Interstate 10.
Okay.
And I mean, this giant warehouse. And I went back by there like 3 months later, and it's gone.
Oh.
Like they tore it down. You would think it would take 3 months to tear it down. It was so big. It was gone completely. It was looked like there was nothing ever there. It's crazy. But
so that opportunity was missed if you hadn't stopped, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a video on my channel where I went to an abandoned warehouse. I forgot about that. And they were in the middle of tearing it down.
Really?
It was like I put it off. And then finally I'm like, okay, I'm going to head over there because I'm heading over to something else in that area to shoot. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I don't know, 50 miles east of Tucson. And I'm a little bit east of Tucson, not that far. And so I drove over there, and they're tractors pushing the metal all together in the middle of the space. So that's even more telling you really need to get, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right away.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, because that's like history, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I had a lot of friends that used to go there and shoot photos, like take models there and shoot photos and stuff like that. And I put that video up, and they were all very sad, to see their studio gone,
That's so crazy. So we have another comment here, and I kind of want to know your opinion on this. So Hope Bus says, I always wonder what the energy feels like in these abandoned places. Do you ever feel like there's different energy or vibes you're getting from some of these different places?
Not usually.
No?
No, not usually. There's a couple, there was one abandoned place that I went to, and I usually don't try to like hype these things like they're, paranormal stuff or anything like that, because I really don't even believe in it. But so I don't ever, not that I don't ever, I rarely, there's like 2 or 3 that I've actually done that with, and this is one of them. So the house is on a road called Sky Ridge, so I called it Scare Ridge. Okay, so it was the Scare Ridge house or whatever. Okay. And I went in there, and it was and this is another weird thing. I had gone there before, because you remember my dog Buster.
Yes.
Right. And Buster passed away.
Yes.
Okay. And we took Buster there because it was on the side of I-10, and we just wanted to take him there to go, let him go to the bathroom out in this field. Mm-hmm. And then we left, but the house was right there, but I didn't know it was abandoned. It looked like people lived there. Oh. So I'm just driving around trying to find something to shoot. And I pulled up there. I don't know why I had this idea in my head that it was abandoned. And when I got there, it was abandoned. It was really strange. Okay. And so I went in back door, and I went in the living room, and there was a fireplace, and there was firewood next to the fireplace, but some of it had slid across the floor, And it's Arizona, so there's tons of dust. Like the
Okay.
dirt collects on the ground. So some of it had slid across the floor, but there's no footprints, there's no paw prints, there's no nothing. But you can see the drag marks from the firewood across the floor. So
No
so
way.
that's one of like 3 times that I saw anything really strange in any of these places.
Okay,
There was another time when I was over in Safford and I went into a couple of abandoned houses, and I was leaving and something grabbed my leg, and I went back to look at it. Okay, it's hard for me to know if this is actually what happened, but it was about 4 feet away where my leg was grabbed. But
okay.
about 8 or 9 feet away, there was a little piece of barbed wire sticking up out of the ground, but it wasn't where my leg was grabbed. So I think it's explainable. I think that what happened is there was another piece of barbed wire I never saw, but I looked around for a while and I never found it.
Yeah, if it was obvious enough to catch your pant leg, you would have been able to see it. So what
Yeah.
in the heck was there?
Yeah.
And the fact that you don't believe in any of this stuff,
No, I
that
still
you're like,
don't
okay,
really.
something's going on. That's like, that gives me the heebie-jeebies. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it did then. When I was doing it, it did. Yeah.
Oh. Do you ever get nervous that that's going to happen again? Like, do you ever, I know you say you don't buy into it, but does it make you wonder?
No, I don't. I get nervous about somebody in there because a lot of places I go into, there's mattresses on the floor,
Mm-hmm.
but it usually, oh, not usually, it's always looked like no one's been there for a long time.
So there's
So
not usually squatters in there kind of
no, I've
thing?
never seen a squatter ever.
Oh.
Yeah, and this is probably, I was doing this before the channel, so I've probably been through 80 or 90 of these places,
Oh
and
my gosh.
I've never seen a squatter.
Is there anything else that would make you nervous? I mean, other than maybe people being in there, but like, are you like, how do you know where it's safe to walk or be? Like, what are you afraid of when you're doing this abandoned house kind of stuff?
I guess nothing, because I just set my cameras up. I just walk right in the door, set my cameras up in a few different spots, walk around, go up, talk to cameras, whatever. I guess I don't even think about it. I don't know.
What if you had done a time lapse for a couple hours and stuff was moving when you weren't in there? Like, you said that wood had
Oh, the
moved?
one on Sky Ridge? Yeah, I could go back and do that.
Oh.
You know what? I found a trap door in the attic. I want to go back there anyway because I want to go up into the attic.
What if you found body part, like bones? What would you
Like,
do? What would you do?
I don't know. Mostly I just find like old underwear hanging from the clothesline outside. That's usually the scariest thing I find. It's true though. I have found that a few times.
Just the underwear?
No, one time it's underwear. Usually it's just clothes, but they're like all tattered and like frayed on the edges and everything because they've been hanging there for 30 years or 40 years. It's pretty cool.
So,
Actually,
someone left in a heck of a hurry. Like, you just wonder what was going on in their lives, and boom, they're gone. Like, was it a family or was it a single person that, what are the wild animals that could attack someone out there?
I don't know, but I was in Cochise, which is a little it's like on this place called the Ghost Town Trail in Southwest Arizona,
Okay.
and this is the very first stop kind of on the trail. And there are people living in that town, so I don't consider it to be a ghost town, but they call it a ghost town. Okay, so I did find this house that looked like it was abandoned, which this one was kind of gutsy because it's right in the middle of town where everybody else is living in houses. But I'm like, well, that one looks abandoned. I don't know why, but I walked up to it, and the door was open, and you could see all the furniture was in there. It looked like kind of like a hoarder. There was tons of stuff in there. And I stood there for about a half hour and I never heard anything. So I think it was abandoned. I really do. And that one had something really creepy. There was a swing, like a little kid swing hanging from a swing. It wasn't a swing set. It was like a tree thing and then like a branch going across. And then it had this thing hanging in it. And this is out in the desert, but the chair was not like a normal kid's chair. It was like a leather and like metal thing that looked like it had a lock on it. It was like you lock your kid up and put him on the swing. It was a really, really creepy thing. It probably wasn't a kid's swing. It was probably like an adult swing. You know what I mean?
So, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So you think about these places that
Yeah.
have been left undisturbed for like decades. People could pull off all sorts of really bad stuff and nobody would know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like locking them up on a tree.
Yeah, it was a weird thing. In fact, I have it on
Does
the
that have
thumbnail. I have it on the
underwear
thumbnail of
in
one of my videos. What's that?
Ah!
Oh,
Hi, Mark.
Nice.
Is that
Nice.
what you wanted?
That's good job.
Mark made me do it.
I didn't read that. You ass! I'm totally getting into all these questions. I'm like, oh. Okay, but now I'm really thinking of all these really creepy situations, right? Like, what if you found someone that was a hostage in one of those places? You could save someone's life.
I'm armed when I go in there, so I'd probably do something about it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, even if someone's like not trapped in there, but yeah, there could be like a lot of drug abuse kind of stuff going on.
That's the thing that I see. That's what I'm talking about as far as somebody in there, squatting. That's what I'm worried about. Is that kind of thing, and it probably wouldn't even be an issue. More than likely, it'd probably be just like if you left, nothing would happen. You know what I mean? You just leave, and they'd probably just not even notice you were there, or not care.
Oh, up next, the abandoned crack houses of the Southwest.
That's a good series right there.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's a good series. Oh, you know what? Speaking of series, you asked me what kind of series I have on the channel, and I started this Nomad coffee series. And I'm doing how nomads make coffee. Okay, and so I put like 3 or 4 channels on each video kind of thing, and I just got one so far. But maybe you would do it, Paula. Maybe you would do a little 2 or 3 minute segment for me.
I could do that.
Okay.
Go fast, Greg. I just feel like we hardly got the tip of the iceberg here. I highly recommend that you guys go watch some of the stuff. I'm super excited for the stuff you're going to be putting out.
Yeah.
The scarier, the better.
I've got a lot of video that I haven't edited, so.
Okay.
I still have stuff from when we were in, when I met you several times. I still have videos that I haven't edited from those times. So I got a lot of stuff.
Well, thank you so much for being here. It's always great to sit and visit with you. Greg, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.